Welcome to my contribution to West Coast Picks multi-lock challenge. I'm pretty happy that I don't have to pick a multi-lock to participate in this challenge, but I only have to pick two arbitrary locks in a row without a cut in between. Yeah, I will do that. So first lock that I'm going to pick is a DAF. I got it from VDE. It's a Turkish lock, as you can see from the head of the key. Made in Turkey. Works with no problem. It hangs a little bit on the nose here because of the leather, but I think it's okay for picking. And the second one is a US lock. It's also given to me by VDE, an ESP, made in USA, or made in USA. Works also with no problem. So let's do the picking, and then I will make a cut and I will give you my estimation for the number of pins. So adjust that a little bit. I've picked these locks before and they have only standard pins inside, so no big deal. I turn it counterclockwise and I use this Peterson jam to pick it. From the bitting you can see it has a very long key pin in number 3, and it's a learning curve to not to try to pick this pin because it's all the way down and it doesn't need to be picked. It also applying tension going in, and yeah, I stop at pin 3, but I've learned not to touch pin 3 but to go to, need to clamp it a little bit more down, to go to 4. Or maybe I've touched it already. No, that's 4 I believe. Maybe I've touched it before, so it's really sensitive. So here I'm in 4. Nice click. Then 5 is binding. And now I'm on 1. 1 is springy, 2 is binding. Got a click. 1 is binding now, and the lock opens. So that was the first lock. Get the Y's out of the way and move on to the Turkish lock, the DAF. So here we go. Put the tensioner in the lock. Also tension it, oh, that's not good. Also tension it counterclockwise, maybe like so. Same pick as before. Here the bitting is relatively flat with just a bit longer key pin in 1. So at least medium tension. And working my way through the pins. There are 6 pins in this lock and it's open. So no big deal to pick these locks, but now let me continue to estimate the number of pins in West Coast Picks bottle. See you in a second. So here we go. It's relatively hard for me to just estimate how many pins are in this bottle. So I decided to try 2 different calculation methods and see what I can come up with. So that's a screenshot from West Coast Picks video where he holds the bottle in his hands. And here's another screenshot from the bottom of this bottle. And my first method is to count the number of pins that we can see here. And yeah, take this as one layer, and then I have to estimate the thickness of this layer and multiply it by the number of layers I came up with, and then this gives me an average, or not an average, but estimated number of pins. So that's the best shot of the bottom of this bottle. And I just checked 1/4 and outlined all the pins that I can see, including those where I only see the circular part. And if a pin goes in that region only halfway or a third or so, I count it only as a third. So that gives me a total number of 12.6 pins in this quarter, which makes a sum of roughly 50 pins in total for one layer. So 50 pins for one layer. And now comes the question, how many layers do we have here? And yeah, that's about a layer. I think that's about a layer. It's less than the length of a pin, and it's more than the diameter of a pin. And so I thought that this might be a good thickness for a layer. I measured the width of this layer in this picture. I measured the overall length or height of this bottle, and I come up with 14.2 layers. If we multiply that, so if we make the calculation, 40.2 times 50.4, that gives a roughly 716 pins. So I write that down, 716 pins. That's the first measurement, or the first method to estimate the number. Yeah, but then I thought, better to have two different or independent ways to estimate the number of pins. And so I looked through the video, and where at the point in time where he held a padlock next to this bottle, I could make a measurement how high or how tall this bottle is, and also could estimate the diameter. So, and then what I then did is I calculated the volume of this bottle, and it resulted in 32.5 cube centimeters. So that's the volume of the bottle. And then I took an average pin and calculated the volume of this pin, and I came up with 0.0483 cube centimeters. So, and now let's assume that the whole bottle is completely filled with pins without any gaps. So that's then 32.5 divided by 0.0483. That gives me a number of 673 pins. But now it's not true that the whole bottle is completely filled with pins, because there are gaps in between. You can see the gaps here, but on other places pins are directly next to each other. So again, I have to guess, and I think if we subtract about 15% from the number because of the gaps, this might not be too bad. So I multiply this by 0.85, which is effectively 15% less, and that gives me a number of 572 pins. So now I have two values, 716 and 572, and these are independent. So I now think that the first measurement is a little bit more accurate, so I give it a weight of 2, and that's more guesswork, so I give it a weight of 1. And when I do the calculation, twice 716 plus 572 divided by 3, I get a result of 668 pins. So Yeah, that's the way I estimated the number of pins. My official estimation is 668 pins. Alright, so that's my contribution. West Coast Picks, thanks a lot for this fun challenge, and everybody else, thank you very much for watching. Happy picking, happy guessing. Cheers and bye bye.
Bye bye.